Welcome back to Talk Show, where we grade the Republic on a curve, and it still manages to fail. Today's August 9th, 2026, and there's only 86 days left until the November midterms. But who's counting? In our show today, Michigan delivers one genuine underdog win, huzzah, and then one accidental murder-suicide of a campaign. We'll get to that. Then, a Nevada governor has to explain out loud that booing a dead cop is generally frowned upon. And our main story, the last time this country wrote a real privacy law, it was to protect a Supreme Court nominee's Blockbuster receipts. Let's razzle this dazzle. Okay, let's start in Michigan, take a jaunt up near the Great Lakes, and this time we had two campaigns ending on the same night with two very, very different vibes. Abdul El-Sayed just won the Democratic primary. Fantastic, beating out Congresswoman Haley Stevens by 1 point. The AIPAC and its allies spent nearly $65 million trying to stop him. He's now on track to potentially be the first Muslim senator in U.S. history, assuming that November goes his way against the incomparable Mike Rogers. Meanwhile, on the Republican side, this is probably my favorite news of the week. Trump-endorsed candidate Amir Hassan lost to Tom Smith, who suspended his campaign last month. And then Smith endorsed someone else. Smith somehow won anyway with 50% of the vote on a campaign of $1,850 against Hassan's $700,000. One candidate survived a $65 million smear campaign, and another got beaten by a guy who quit and then told everyone to vote for somebody else. Michigan, chef's kiss. In our next segment, let's talk about Las Vegas, okay? So, Officer Austin Abdelnabi, a Marine veteran, 2 years on the force, was unfortunately shot and killed responding to a call on August 4th. The next night, Governor Joe Lombardo brought him up at a Trump rally. And when he said the name Abdelnabi, part of the crowd booed. So Lombardo actually had to stop and then say this out loud. He had to say, no, we're not booing him. He's the officer who just passed away. And then he asked for a moment of silence for the man that they just booed. So get this, a cop who gave his life responding to an armed suspect call, and then the reflex, before anybody even processed what was said, was to boo the name. Not the guy, the name. That's not a heckler problem, that's a diagnosis. Come on down to world news in a minute. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has resigned. In Colombia, Trump-backed candidate De La Espriella, it was a little too French, let's say that again. In Colombia, Trump-backed candidate De La Espriella is leading a razor-thin presidential runoff count. In Yemen, the Houthis claimed an attack on a Saudi oil refinery. In the Balkans, Ukrainian-style drone exploded near the Bulgaria-Romania pipeline border. In D.C., this sucks, Todd Blanche, Trump's former personal lawyer, was confirmed as Attorney General. They did this at 4 a.m. and then they scurried away to whatever caves they crawled out of. And then, last but not least, off of Sicily, archaeologists found a Roman shipwreck still packed with 2,000-year-old jars of olive oil. And that's your world. Still spinning, but barely. All right, let's get on to our main story. Let's talk a little bit about AI and privacy. How did we get here? I just recently watched one of Jon Stewart's podcasts. If you don't watch his podcast, it's phenomenal. He had Cory Doctorow on, and it was spectacular. Sentences like panoply of chuds and other fabulous lines are highlights of that episode. Here's the thing that nobody remembers. The last time America passed a real working privacy law, it wasn't because of a wiretap or stalker or data breach. No, it was because a video store clerk leaked Robert Bork's rental history during his Supreme Court nomination. 146 tapes over 2 years. And actually, nothing salacious, like, no raunchy porn or anything, just forgettable dramas. But Congress was so scandalized that a stranger could learn what you rented, they passed the Video Privacy Protection Act in 1988. And that was nearly unanimous. Now, here's the real issue. Here's the problem with that. That is still essentially the ceiling. Meanwhile, oh boy, Character.ai trains on your conversations by default and has used that chat data for targeted ads since last August. If you don't read the terms of services, because, who does? But X's new terms of service hands over a perpetual worldwide license to anything you type, and there is no opt-out. And the one AI privacy bill that actually moved this month, the Youth AI Privacy Act, only covers kids. Now, granted, the kids need to be covered, and that requires companies to collect more data to prove who's a kid. How does that work out? So the law that protects your privacy, my privacy, everyone's privacy, was written for VHS tapes. And the thing you're actually confessing to now, your health scares, your 3 a.m. spirals, that's just terms of service. So let me put it this way. Robert Bork rented a movie and it became federal law. You've been telling a chatbot your mental health diagnosis for a year and nobody's written a single page. So here's a quick recap, all right? El-Sayed wins, $65 million short, fantastic. Trump's guy loses to someone who quit the race. A dead officer's name gets booed before the sentence even finishes. And the strongest privacy law that we have protects your VHS habits better than your group chat with a chatbot. So if you learned something today, I'm sorry. If you didn't, congratulations, you're coping correctly. We'll see you next week.